Disinformation, Cardboardification, and the return of the spinner. Hello, I'm Matthew here on Watch It Played, and this is your board game news. Tiny Epic Cthulhu was announced by Gameling Games as the next Tiny Epic game in the Tiny Epic series. Side note, I'm now going to be calling this new show the Awesome Amazing New Show, and that's how I'd like to be referred to moving forward. Tiny Epic Cthulhu is a 1 to 4 player cooperative game that aims to immerse players in the world of spinning madness, unlike our own world. And players take the roles of unique characters residing in a cold, forgotten island town off the coast of 1920s New Arkham. But all is not well in this seemingly peaceful town. Cosmic horrors are emerging from the dense sea fog, plunging the once sleepy town into a state of chaos. You'll be working together to translate the Necronomicon, unveil the Great Old Ones, and seal the portals to banish the impending horror back into the cosmic realm. And to achieve this, players tap into the madness that surrounds the town, using it to translate pages, battle against shamblers, and prevent locations from succumbing to pure horror. This is all done through both bag building and push your luck mechanisms, and something that made me very happy because the game has a spinner. Spinners are back. It's a spinaissance. The spinner is aimed at capturing the essence of Lovecraftian madness and chaos, while also, quote, maintaining the strategic element that players have come to expect from the Tiny Epic series. And Tiny Epic Cthulhu will be emerging from the depths onto Kickstarter at some point in the near future. But for something corporealizing now, I'm not sure that's a word, but you get my gist. It's the sponsor who in part helped make this episode possible. Worldspanner Factions, an imaginative adventure game that offers a deep strategic and tactical challenge. You can play for the strategy or play for the adventure and have a great time doing either. This is the updated and streamlined successor to Duel of Ages, which has won 29 Game Awards, including 11 #1 games of all time, Game of the Year, and Best Reprint prizes. Back again as a cooperative team game for 2 to 8 players, including over 174 characters, 850 cards, and an array of puzzle piece map sections, providing more variety than even the most clever supercomputer could hope to calculate. Plus, players can mod the game by creating their own heroes, maps, campaigns, and treasures using the design tools provided. Follow the link in this video's description to find and back Worldspanner Factions, which is running right now on Kickstarter through November the 22nd. It's deep, ambitious, flexible, and waiting to put your skills to the test. Up next, we have a trio of big video games making their board game debuts, starting first with Diablo. Diablo, the board game, is coming from Glass Cannon Unplugged, the company behind the digital cardboard crossovers such as Frostpunk, Dying Light, and Apex Legends, and this one is a co-op narrative-driven adventure board game which players will gather a party of custom champions and venture through the world of Sanctuary, helping those in need, exploring dungeons and tombs full of undead horrors, battling the legions of the netherworld, and of course traversing the realms of creation. Nothing unusual about that. Diablo, the board game, is going to be releasing alongside a new tabletop RPG system, and these can work together as one and fuel each other with interchangeable game components, shared accessories, and complementary expansions. And all of this is set to launch on Kickstarter next year. Next is Terraria, the board game, coming from Paperfork Games, who recently gave us Cosmoctopus, and it's a board game adaptation of the exploration and crafting game Terraria. This is set to expand upon the universe's existing video game universe by combining the digital game's biome exploration, character progression, base building, and combat with tabletop mechanisms alongside a fresh new art style. This is all to create, we are told, a cooperative adventure that will resonate with both long-term fans and novice Terrarians. This one's set to kickstart sometime soon. And we have God of War, the board game, coming from CMON. This was announced at CMON Expo Thailand. Details are sparse, but this looks to be based on 2018's God of War video game, the one that CMON did a 2019 God of War, the card game about. Expo attendees got a chance to see the debut of the first 2 minis from the game that features series protagonist Kratos and his young son Atreus, who will embark on an epic journey through the 9 realms of Norse mythology while fighting to protect their family from fearsome creatures and powerful gods. And God of War, the board game, is set to hit crowdfunding in mid-2024. Now for something rather different. This is the 2-player Operation Barclay coming from Salt and Pepper Games, a game about the intelligence war between the Allies and the Abwehr counterparts in the Mediterranean theatre between the years of 1942 and 43. With the Axis powers ejected from North Africa, there was debate as to where the Allies might strike next, but Roosevelt and Churchill agreed that the next target, Operation Husky, would be the invasion of Sicily. But there was a problem. The Axis powers suspected Sicily would be the target and knew there was going to be deceptive activities in motion to attempt to mislead them about what they already knew. In the 6 months leading up to this, Allied intelligence had to create sufficient disinformation to persuade their intelligence counterparts, something we know now as Operation Barclay. Also, Google Operation Mincemeat if you want to read about something truly bizarre. So, Operation Barclay puts players in the shoes of competing military intelligence directors who are attempting to mask or learn the truth about the Allied invasion. The Abwehr must attempt to learn where the Allies intend to land next, and the London controlling section must prevent them from doing so at all cost. This is a game all about secrets, deploying troops, bluffing, and of course gathering evidence and intelligence to win evidence tokens. Players build hands of 5 cards to take tricks similar to poker, while having the best hand will secure 2 evidence tokens. Correctly betting after each other players reveal the first 3 cards of each hand on who will have the best 5-card hand is worth 3 evidence tokens. There's also deck manipulation going on here, and this looks absolutely fascinating to me, and I have to play it. It looks like there's more of what I've really grown to love from Salt and Pepper Games, and releases next year. Gnome Hollow is the Ops new game for 2 to 4 players, releasing next year, where since the beginning of time, gnomes have been the humble caretakers of nature. In secret, they emerge from their underground homes to maintain meticulous rings of mushrooms known to the human folk as fairy rings. Did I say gnome to the human folk? It's done now. But the work must be done quickly, because as soon as a mushroom path is finished, the mushrooms are already for picking. Who will be the cleverest gnome and harvest the most mushrooms by the end of the season? Gnome Hollow is a spatial tile placement, worker placement game where you grow a garden of mushrooms and flowers, and we are promised that while turns are simple, the strategy of developing rings of valuable mushrooms is satisfying, with the ability to create larger and larger sets of mushrooms, as well as create your own personal worker placement spots as well. There's also meant to be lots of ways to get bonuses if you play smart. This one looks lovely with the art, and tile placement is just one of my favourite things, so I'm interested in this one coming next year. Meeple Inc. is coming from Cogito Ergo Meeple, a 1 to 6 player game where players take on the role of board game publishers, collecting the perfect mix of artwork, concepts and mechanisms to build the greatest board games in the world. But what drew me into this one was the next turn the description took, which is it's an alternative 1970s where meeples and humans have coexisted for millennia. The mix of human ingenuity and meeple industriousness has created a new golden age of tabletop games, and you are in the right place at the right time. So, as CEO of a board game production company, you will be assigning your workers to jobs across the board game factory, hiring specialists, crafting components and manufacturing mechanisms, all in a bid to publish the most popular games, win tabletop awards, and of course gain victory points. Meeple Inc. looks like it has a bit of a novel take on the worker placement mechanism, where players are rewarded for paying attention and are predicting the actions of your opponents. I like the sound of this one a lot, and a Game Found campaign for Meeple Inc. will be happening, I believe, sometime next year. And now for the latest board games available to play online in this segment sponsored by Board Game Arena. Starting with Planet Unknown, a competitive game of 1 to 6 players who attempt to develop the best planet by placing polyomino-shaped dual resource tiles on their planet. Each resource represents infrastructure needed to support life on the planet, so wise moves and critical thinking will be crucial to ensuring life on your planet thrives. Also available are Fika, where owners of street cafes try to out-earn their competitors through card placement and manipulation, and My City Roll and Build, a dice game which players create a unique city over the course of 12-chapter campaign. Follow the links in this video's description to learn and play these and hundreds of other board games online at Board Game Arena. And Fantasy Flight have announced a new campaign expansion coming next year for Arkham Horror the card game, The Feast of Hemlock Vale. When renowned botanist Dr. Rosa Marquez receives a strange sample from the secluded and mysterious Hemlock Isle, her instincts tell her that something's amiss. Following her recommendation of an old colleague, she invites the investigators to join her on a survey of the island. Nothing could prepare them for what they find. Deadly, mutilated wildlife and a strange malignant presence permeates the isle, all while the local residents prepare for a festival, seemingly unaware of the danger. The investigators only have 3 days to find out what lurks beneath Hemlock Vale before its people meet a terrible fate. In the Feast of Hemlock Vale campaign expansion, 1 to 4 investigators travel to Hemlock Isle, an island shrouded in mystery that has only recently opened up to visitors. And during the day, players will bond with the locals and explore the island. But once the sun goes down, the island becomes a death trap of ravenous, twisted wildlife. Can they unveil the secret of Hemlock Island in just 3 short days, or will they be devoured in the upcoming feast? And that's the news, but your Watch It Play journey has only just begun if you continue here to hear all about the games on our own personal radars this month. What's caught the Watch It Plays team's eyes? There's only one way to find out, and I'll see you over there. Bye.